Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be diving into another pretty interesting but challenging machine on the Vulnhub, which is Insanity 1. I will put the link in the description section below so that you can download and play on your own. This machine involves or requires manual way to perform SQL injection vulnerability rather than taking readily available tools such as SQL Map. However, before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. So now, let's get started. We can head over to Linux VM. First of all, we need to discover the IP address of the target machine. The utility I'd like to use, as always, would be net discover. All right, so as you can see over here, the IP address of the target machine could be recognized as 253. So what shall we do next? We need to perform port and self scanning with a map. To save time of this video, I've already done that before. So now we can simply get out its result. Let's scroll up a bit. So as you can see over here, I took the options like scene scan, the default script scan, the version scan, and then followed by the full range port scan. The last option for all is ON to output the result into this file. From the Nmap scanning results, we can tell that the target has 1, 2, 3 open ports in total. Let's take a look at them one by one. The first one is 21, and the surface is FTP. And also we can get its version information, VSFTPD, even its corresponding exact version number 3.0.2. And with the option of default script option, we can tell the target allows anonymous FTP login. And the second one is SSH surface, and also we can get its version information. Though this version is a bit outdated, I don't think we can find any workable exploits. The last one is 80, which is running HTTP service, and also the version information Apache 2. So what shall we do next? We need to, enumerate the FTP service first. Okay, so how to? First of all, we need to check whether this version is vulnerable or not. But we didn't get any results of exploits or shell codes. Next, we can FTP to the target machine. The username, anonymous, no password, we are in the target machine. And there is only one directory, but nothing here. Next, we can check whether we can change directories or navigate across different locations. CD to home, but we got a 550 error, which is fine. Next, we can check to see whether we can upload a file. Okay, let me open new tab. Make it bigger. And we can create test file. And now let's go back. We can use put command test, but we still get the same error, 550, permission denied. So now it's time to exit from FTP. So what can we do next? We need to enumerate web application both manually and automatically. Let's fire up the browser. Sorry, I need to close up existing tabs in advance. So now we can start from the fresh. We can put the IP address of the target machine into the address bar. Press enter. Oh, sorry, not this one. The IP address should be 253. Okay, so here we need to gather information. So this should be the possible domain name. possible domain name. If we cannot penetrate into the target machine by any means, it's probably to enumerate its subdomain, okay? But we can put it aside for a while. Let's go back to the home page. Although on the top there are some links, but they are not hyperlinked, just some kinds of anchors, okay? Which redirect us to different locations on the same page. So, okay, so next we can check to see, we can find some useful information from the source code. And we can scroll down, but we can't find anything useful from the point of penetration. Next, I think we can use command line to test whether this site has robots file or not. Robots, but not found. Next, we can launch Nicto to perform automatic enumeration. I always start automatic web enumeration with Nicto because Nicto can give us comprehensive result about the web application. So here we find something. Now we can check to see whether we can get some useful from the package JSON file. So I think this JSON file contains some kinds of settings for the template, okay? Not useful. Next, sorry, we can have a look at the webmail directory. Webmail, press enter, and we find this application Scholar Mail, even its number. So I think without any hesitation, we need to check to see whether this version is vulnerable or not. So we can search sprite, and maybe we need to copy. So, you know, copy and paste away will not make a mistake, right? Press enter. But here there is one exploit available, but from the version we can tell this exploit doesn't apply our target machine. Okay, so anyway, we can copy this address and put over here. So the login here we can try to use admin and admin or default credential to log in, but failed. Okay, so now let's go back to the results of Nicto. So PHP info. We can access this file. Press enter. Some kinds of PHP version itself, but we cannot exploit it. Okay, so how about image data? Okay, to save time, I'm not going, going to walk through all of discovered directories because we can't find anything useful from those directories. So now, sorry, we find this one. Maybe it deserves our choice. Okay. As you know, PHP admin is application to manage databases in GUI. Okay, so we can use root and root to log in, but we got error, not working, which is fine. Next, we can launch Gobuster to perform directory enumeration. We find new directory news. Good. So welcome to our corporate news blog, blah, blah, blah. And on the top, there's some links, but I think they're beyond the scope of this lab. Monitoring surface, open link, but not found. We find this one. This is possible user. Even this would be administrator or manager, because this guy led the team. And our team have been working hard to create you a free monitoring service for your servers. Okay, so now we can copy this possible username. Let's go back. So webmail monitoring, great. So we find this directory, press enter. We got another user login page. And also, as usual, we can try to use admin and admin to sign in, but nothing coming back. So also we can try to use login bypass technique to log in or to sign in, but it's not vulnerable. And okay, I don't think Gobuster can find anything else, so I'd like to interrupt it here. So what else we can do? So far, we found the possible domain name and also the login pages, 2 login pages. And also another thing is possible username. Maybe next we can try to make a brute forcing against this application. Okay, so how to do? I'm going to take 2 approaches to show you how to perform such cracking or brute forcing. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to use Hydra. We can open, inspect, and navigate to network tab, and we can trigger a new request like admin and password. Login, and we got error. So the first is our submitted post request. So how to do? Let me get back the terminal window and launch Hydra, and let me autocomplete this command to save time. So here, of course, I need to change the IP address of the target machine. So here I use the normal L option to specify the username and use capital P to specify the word list. Here I'm using locq word list, and then I use the F option. It means that as soon as Hydra finds a valid combinations of username and password, it will stop immediately, will not continue. And specify the surface HTTP post form, and then this should be the login page. You can get it from here. Okay, you can copy it. You can copy and put over here. And then also we need to specify the request body or request payload. Also, you can get it from the browser, and you can switch to raw and copy all of these payloads. And after you made such a copy, you need to put or change the username to placeholder. So this is the placeholder for username, and this is placeholder for password. Okay, and also in the end we need to specify the error message or anything coming back from the target machine when we submit invalid password or username. Okay, so now we can press enter. Okay, almost immediately Hydra finds the password because the password is very stupid and simple. So maybe we can copy and put over here. Okay. So next I'm going to use Python to write our own program to perform such brute forcing. Okay. Let me show you. And we can open PyCharm editor and right click on this folder, what we are working on. And we can new Python file. We can call it brute force. Okay. And now let's go back to the browser and copy the request value as Q command. Then we can go to this website, because this website can convert Q command to Python very quickly, and we can copy it to clipboard and we can paste over here. Next, we can base on this code to create our program. So I think cookies are necessary. We can delete it, and we can, I think, cookie here. Also, we can delete it as well. And I don't think referrer is required, and also origin. Okay, and we can define the function like login, and we can pass the password. Okay, and we can indent all of the remaining lines. So here should be Otis, and we can pass the argument here, password. So this is the URL. If unknown keyword not in response text, then we can print something like found password. Okay, password. And also I think we can import sys module, so then we can exit the program without going any further. Next, we can I think we can open the word list, user share word list, locu, read only mode for line in read lines. And then we can call the function line strip. But when we use locu list, it's best to put another option or argument, keyword argument, and encoding Latin 2. Okay, so I think that's it. Now we can bring back the terminal window to run our program. Press enter. Almost immediately we found the password. Okay, so far we have already got credentials to this SQL mail application. Now we can log in with this credential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Login. And also in the meantime, we can check whether we can use the same password or credential to log in to this monitoring service. So Otis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Amazing. It works as well. Great. So let's go back to this SQL mail application. Because this version is not vulnerable, we can't do very much with this application or this service. So I think the vector should lie in monitoring surface. So below are the servers you have set to monitor. If a server is down, we will email you a notification along with report of the downtime. So from this message, we know these two applications are connected with each other or have some collections. When a server is down and will email to you, for example, here we can receive the email from this monitoring service, but the precondition is the server is down. Unfortunately, right now the status of the local host is up. Of course, if it's down, we cannot do anything, and we cannot modify. We can only modify IP address or the name. Okay, so let's go back. How about we add a new, and how about we add a new server, and this new server doesn't exist, or at least doesn't exist in our own lab. Okay, for example, like test 1 and 1. This IP address is not available in my lab. So now we can save, because the monitoring service will check the state of the server. So maybe after a bit of while, and we can get the status of this server as done. Let me refresh. Refresh. Maybe I need to pause the recording. Okay, as you can see here, this server is done. So I think we can get email sent by this monitoring service. And indeed, yes, we got this mail. And the content you can notice here, besides the server name, we also get the detailed information about this server, the ID, host, data time, status. So at this point, we can guess maybe, this application is vulnerable to SQL injection. Okay? But we cannot take the usual way to test this vulnerability. For example, we use SQL map because the response will be retrieved by another application or another service. So how to do? Let me show you. For example, we can add a new one, and we can put like, and also from the email, we can know in this table, there are 4 columns. Very important, because we are going to use union select to to perform such testing. Okay, so how to do? And we can use double quotes. This will close up anything in front of our SQL statement. And also, I think you can get, this is a bit complicated, and you can get help from this website. I will put the link in the description section below. So if you want, you can, get here to get different SQL statement, for example, to retrieve column names, retrieve table names. Okay, so also we can get the version. Let me show you. For example, we can. So union select and database function user, and of course we need to use hash or use double hyphen to come out everything or anything after this. Okay, so now we can copy and put over here. We can put another non-existent server. Save. We still need to wait a bit more time. So as you can see here, we got the database name and current user. We can copy and paste over here. So next, we need to retrieve more information. For example, we need to know how many tables within this database. So how to do? I think we can copy and paste over here. We need to do some modification, double quote first, and then 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. We are not going to retrieve database name. I want to retrieve table names within this database. We can copy again. So this should be 1, 2, and 3. So monitoring. So we can copy. Paste over here, and also we can use hashtag, and so I need to make double check. Okay, we can copy. We can add a new instance or new server. 3. Save. So as you can see, we get another email, and this email contains the table names, hosts, log, and users. Of course, we're just interested in users table. We can copy. So next, I'm going to retrieve column names of this table. So how to do? Again, I'd like to copy, because I think it's very difficult to memorize everything. We can copy and paste over here. So here we can use double quote. Okay, and the table is users. I think a double hyphen works as well, no problem. But we can copy it and add new one. 4, save. As you can see over here, we successfully retrieve all columns of this table, users. And I just want to retrieve the data of these 2 columns, username and password. But how to do? Again, we can come back here and copy it. And paste over here. So double quote, and so this should be user name. This is some kind of separator, okay? And password, okay? And the table is users. And we can copy it and add a new one. We can save. Inbox. We can check whether we can retrieve the data of the users table. So this one, not this one. How about this one? Not. How about this one? No. Refresh, but not done. We got new data here. We successfully get the, the username and encrypted password. Of course, this one we know the password, clear text password is 123456. So here I think we can copy and save to file. Okay, and then we can use John the Ripper to crack it. But I'm going to tell you, this will not work within a reasonable period of time. So I'm going to pause the video. So how to do? Although we have already performed and retrieved data from the database, okay, but nothing very helpful. So next, I'm going to enumerate another database. Usually, MySQL database has another database. Database name is MySQL, and this database has one table, user. If you don't know this, you can use the same approach to enumerate. But to save time, I'm going directly tell you this table has one table, user. So next I'm going to dump data from this table. But I think first of all we need to know how many columns in this table, okay? And I think we can use this statement. And here we need to add one more condition. We can copy and so this should be MySQL and this should be user, no S in the end. So now we can copy it and add a new instance. Press save. Okay, I'm going to pause the video. So as you can see over here in this email, we successfully retrieved all column names in the table user, and this table is living in the MySQL database. And I want to get the user and password and also authentication string. We can copy. And so the user and password. So next I'm going to use this command, this statement rather, to get back the data or entries in this table. But here we are going to change the column name. So they should be user and, oh, sorry, not this one. We need to replace this one and password. And also I'd like to retrieve this column. Okay. And the table should be MySQL dot user. Now we can, let me make check. Yeah, I think it's fine. We can copy, add the new server. Later I will use Python to automate this process. But right now I'm going to show you how to do it manually in detail. Maybe we can add a new one, and we can save. So as you can see over here, in another mail, we find the encrypted password for this user and also for the root. But I'm going to copy this one, and to crack it, we can go to this website crack station to crack it. We can refresh, we send. Of course, I'm not robot. Verify, crash, hashes, and we can get its result. And also we can try to crack another one. Oh, terrible. Verify, but not found, which is fine. So next I'm going, I guess this is possible username for SSH service. So now we can use SSH to, to connect it to. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how to use Python to automate this a bit boring and tedious process. Okay, so how to do? Let me log out, and let's open developer tool, and we can, for example, we can trigger new request, sign in, and we can copy value as Q command, and then we can go to the same website to convert. Okay, copy, and I'm going to new Python file. We can call it SQL test. Paste over here. And I'm going to use OOP, or object-oriented programming method to code this program. And as before, cookie is unnecessary, so we can delete it. And I'm going to import sys module. So we can define SQL tester, and we can define init or constructor method, and also we can define the login method for our class. And next we can, I think we can define the send or create instance. Okay, so this should be, I think this should, we need to pass server name, server IP. Okay, and the pass. And also we need to define the major method. So this will control the main workflow of our program. And if, so next, I think we can start with init method or construct method. If length sys a guide is less than, for example, like 5, and then we can print its usage, the program name itself, and the login URL. And also we need to put, I think also we need to put the username and password, right? And also we need to put server name, server, we do not need to. This can be dynamically created. Okay, so now sys archive index 0, this means the first item in this list, and this stands for program name. And then we can exit from the program. So totally there will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 arguments. Okay. Next, we can, so the self username or login URL, archive, self username, archive, self password. Okay, and we can use the session way to send and receive response, send request and receive response. So session requests session. Okay, so this will store cookie or session data automatically. Next, I think we can copy these lines to be here. Okay, and so the cookie, we can delete it, and also regular is not required, and also origin. I want this code to be more concise or shorter. Okay, and here should be self username, self password. Okay, and this should be login URL. So if sign in not in response text, we can print out login successfully. Okay, so now we come to this method, create instance. So how to do? Let's log in with Otis 1 2 3 4 5 6, login, and we can add new, for example, like test 10. We want to capture its request. So the first one, we can copy value as Q command, and so we can copy to clipboard, paste over here, delete it, and also we can delete this one, regular, we don't need. Okay, so now, so the name, we can pass the argument here, server name, and server IP. That's it. And here, because they are using the same address for both login and for this creating server instance, so we can change it to self login URL. Cookies, we can delete it, no problem, don't worry. And we don't care about the response. So here we can come to the major method. So we can while true, and we can call it the payload input So if payload equals to quit, and then we can, jump out of this while loop. Okay. Otherwise, not payload, and also the server IP input. Sorry. So the IP address. Here we can put something like server lim. Now we can call function self create instance server or payload and server IP. Okay. So now we can if lim equal main, then the following code will be executed. We can create instance or object of our class. So tester, SQL tester, and we can call its major method. Okay, so now to make PyCharm happier, we can add one more blank line. So I think it's a fine. Okay, we can now let's run our program. SQL. If we do not specify any option, we are given its usage. So we can copy its URL. Oh, why so many spaces? And username, and followed by its password. Okay, and then we can, I think that's it. We can run it. Oh, I think we need to, so here, now we should use a session, self session. Otherwise, we are not authenticated. Also, this one should be ses. Okay, so now we can run it again. So the server name, but oh, we didn't run this function self login. Okay, so run our program one more time. So login successfully. So the server name, we can put some payload like I want to retrieve I can use this one. Maybe we can, I just want to retrieve the database. So we can copy. Run it one more time. So the server. And we can quit. Let's go. Okay, quit. So now let's go back to this monitoring surface to see, yes, our instance has been created. Okay, so I think you got my idea how to use Python to automate this SQL injection. Let's continue, because we have already got possible username and password for SSH. Let's try it. Now we can copy, paste over here. Okay, here we find this Mozilla. It means that this machine has Firefox installed. And we can go to home directory. Anyone or many users, monitor, OTs. Okay, that's all admin. Okay, next I think we can upload Nmap's shell script to perform automatic enumeration. To do that, we need to upload it to the target machine. We can use wget Nmap's. Okay, and we need to make it executable. And we can run it. When we try to elevate privilege, in most cases, we need to make use of this script to perform automatic enumeration. It's done. A lot of output. I have to say, Mozilla. Has cookies. It appears we can't find anything interesting. Except some kinds of local exploit, but I'm not going to take local exploits to penetrate. So anyway, just now we have already found the Mozilla directory and Firefox. Go to this directory, and here even we find this key for database. This is some kinds of SQLi database will store the credentials. So next I'm going to transfer the entire directory to Linux for analysis. So how to do? I'm going to use SP, and I'd like to grab the command from history. Press enter, and we can supply the password. Okay, so I think it's done. Next, I think we can make use of this utility. You can get it from the GitHub repository. I will put its link in the description as well. I've already cloned from GitHub repository. So now we just launch this script of Firefox decrypt. Press enter. As you can see, we successfully get back its password. I mean the password of root user. We can copy very complicated password. So now we can switch to root user. It does work. Fantastic. And now we can get its flag. So I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to see you next. Bye. Have a nice day, please.